78 Memorial Academy. I'm Loretta Steamberg Weller, 78. I'm the secretary of the Alumni Board and on the Mammone Academy Committee. This academy was created to recognize and celebrate Elmira College alumni who have achieved exceptional success in their professional careers and who, through their leadership, service, and generosity, continue to make a lasting difference in their communities. The honorees of this academy represent the very best of Elmira College. They are leaders in business, education, community service, and philanthropy. Each has demonstrated not only remarkable professional achievement, but also a deep commitment to giving back, whether through charitable initiatives, mentorship, or community engagement. To be selected for this distinction, alumni must meet a high standard. They must be graduates of Elmira College with either an undergrad or graduate degree. They must have built a career marked by at least 20 years of professional success. And most importantly, they must be willing to return to Elmira College to share their knowledge and experience by engaging with our students, leading discussions or master classes, and connecting with fellow alumni and friends of the college. This spirit of giving back is at the very heart of the academy and a living tribute to Bette A. Mammone, class of 78, whose name it proudly bears. Bette believed deeply in the power of alumni connections. She recognized that collaboration among alumni, career services, and alumni engagement created opportunities not only for our students to learn and grow, but also for alumni to stay connected and to invest in the future of this institution. She also believed in Elmira College and she never wanted to go to any other school but Elmira College. And it was her dream. Nothing else would do. Bette herself was an extraordinary example of dedication and achievement. She graduated cum laude from Elmira in 1978 with a Bachelor of Arts in Individualized Studies and Speech Communication, and went on to earn her master's degree from Marquette University. Before her untimely passing, she served as principal at Gerald Panis, Lindsay and Partners, which is a national leader in fundraising and consulting. Her life and career embodied both professional excellence and a generous spirit of mentorship, and philanthropy. She was also my freshman year roommate, one of the very first people I encountered here at Elmira. The academy was primarily her baby, and when she left us, we decided to bring this program to life in her memory. We thank the college for their ongoing support in this endeavor. Today, as we honor a new member of the Bette A. Mammone Academy, we celebrate not only her remarkable achievements, but also the continuation of Bette's vision that alumni engagement is one of the most powerful ways to strengthen the Elmira College community. And that's you. On behalf of the college and the Office of Alumni Engagement, I thank you for being here today. I invite you to listen, be inspired, and to join us in celebrating the extraordinary alumni who uphold the values and the legacy of Elmira College. It is my pleasure to introduce President Chuck Lindsay to award this year's honoree.
Thank you, Lori, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for being here. I was almost way late because on the way in, I saw that there was 2 of the 4 basic food groups that they were preparing. Popcorn and cotton candy. So afterwards. But now, it's my great honor to introduce this year's inductee into the Bette A. Mammone 79 Memorial Academy of Distinguished Alumni. Jennifer Congelli Ingold, class of 1995. Jennifer's been selected for this recognition because of her remarkable leadership, scholarship, and service in the field of education. While at Elmira, Jennifer studied social studies and secondary education, laying the foundation for what has become a truly distinguished career. Since graduating, she has earned a long list of awards and recognitions, including being named Outstanding Middle School Social Studies Teacher of the Year at the local, state, and even national levels. Her influence has been recognized by organizations such as the Long Island Council for the Social Studies, the New York State Council for the Social Studies, the National Council for the Social Studies, and the Organization of American Historians. During the challenges of COVID-19, Jennifer's leadership and advocacy for her fully virtual students earned recognition from the New York State Board of Regents, and her work was later archived in the New York State Museum's COVID-19 collection, a lasting testament to her impact. Beyond the classroom, Jennifer has served as a dynamic teacher in her field. She is currently president of the Middle States Council for the Social Studies, the oldest professional organization of its kind in the country. She also contributes to professional organizations championing the importance of social studies education for all students. Her scholarship and thought leadership extend into research, writing, and national presentations, further shaping the conversation about social studies education, and her commitment to service is equally inspiring, most notably through the Geraldine Ingrid Young Professionals Memorial Scholarship, which she founded in honor of her late mother-in-law, and support for the next generation of educators and entrepreneurs. So, please join me in celebrating and welcoming Jennifer Congelli Ingold, 95, an extraordinary educator, leader, just a minute, and advocate as she joins the distinguished list of honored alumni in the Bette A. Mammone 78 Memorial Academy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. To my honored guests, President Lindsay, First Lady Lindsay, Vice President Hobson, Vice President Swain, Vice President Kelly, Dean Saronen, Ms. Laura Weller, last year's distinguished recipient, Mr. Dick Weller, dedicated Elmira College faculty and students, fellow attendees, family, and friends. It is my honor to be speaking to you this afternoon, and it is a privilege to be recognized as this year's recipient of the Bette A. Mammone Academy Memorial Award. So thank you. I would like to begin with an old adage. Life is what happens while you are making other plans. Indeed, life makes no promises. Its only guarantee is the vivid understanding that an unforeseen path lies ahead, one filled with great change and perhaps even greater challenges. When I first transferred to Elmira College in the fall of 1992, becoming an educator was the furthest thing from my mind. It was never part of the plan. But make no mistake, I had one. Doesn't everybody? Over the past 35 years, I've observed, learned, and grown from a starry-eyed high school graduate to a college co-ed who was determined to become Corning Incorporated's youngest female junior executive by age 25. Then to a novice teacher whose first group of students at Corning East High School were barely older than she, which ultimately led to several overzealous invitations to the prom. To now an accomplished veteran educator who has devoted the past 28 years to my first love, other than Mr. Ingold, of course. Love you, honey. Middle school. That infamous rite of passage, lovingly known as the worst years of life. whose sole mission is to rid the young, unsuspecting, overly enthusiastic student teacher of that idyllic glow left behind from their high school student teaching experience, replacing it with exasperation and the swift realization that, yes, Dorothy, you're definitely not in Kansas anymore. You're in middle school, where eye rolls are frequent, logic is negotiable, and every hallway smells of axe and existential dread. In truth, I love middle schoolers. Each year they remind me just how deep that devotion goes, especially when they continue to use their impressive logic and even sharper mathematical intellect to figure out what they consider to be the eighth wonder of the world, my age. I mean, you had my brother who's now a senior. You had my cousin 8 years ago. You went to college and you're married, so you're sort of normal. Then comes the proverbial punchline, the piece de resistance. And you've been here forever. So that makes you what, about 100? Ah, yes, middle school, with its brutal honesty and unlimited charm, has been the most humbling experience of my life, and year after year, the gift that keeps on giving. Now, I've also been fortunate to serve outside of the classroom as an active member of several professional organizations, locally, statewide, and nationally. Most notably as the current president of the Middle States Council for the Social Studies, the oldest professional social studies organization in the country. There I continue to advocate for the importance of social studies education in every American classroom. A role that continues to both challenge and inspire. It has been one of the greatest professional privileges of my career. Although my professional roles have continued to evolve, my dedication and commitment to education's mission has remained the same. That level of commitment does not come easily. But it is exactly what is necessary to endure education's constantly changing landscape and to survive in an increasingly media-saturated, narrative-driven world. Change is the artistry of reflection. For all the wisdom it imparts and experiences it shares and the countless tests it provides, no one ever taught us how to survive in the real world after college. Did they? After graduation, with our freshly minted diplomas in hand and feelings of exhilaration, we were left with the stark reality that now we were actually going to have to make good on all the promises made inside those gold filigreed covers. And let's be honest, this feeling isn't exclusive to just the college graduate. Whether you've raised a family, been a family member, who's cheered from the sidelines, built a business, or simply tried to make sense of life after your 20s, you know what it means to figure it out on the fly and try to make it all work and somehow manage to just keep going. After all, we had been tasked with leaving our mark on the world. So would it not have been helpful to have had some sort of instruction manual, or at least a working piece of advice? We and our parents paid a lot of money for those diplomas. It might even have been courteous to include as the fine print, hope it was fun, may your college memories last a lot longer than your student loan payments. And in many cases, they have. But even if our own personal version of life's little instruction manual had existed, tailored precisely to our every whim, most of what we really needed to know would not have been in there anyway. Experience is and always will be the best teacher. Life itself is a boundless classroom, open every day to intellectual curiosity, providing unlimited experiences and countless litmus tests of endurance. All are invited, but you are not prepared. Not for the way life insists on just showing up. Raw, unfiltered, and utterly just real. And yet, here we are, today at Elmira College, a place that undoubtedly left its mark on who we would become, and the place where our lives first began. You are not prepared. Honestly, that just might be the unofficial motto for adulthood. Now, I would be remiss if I did not pause here for a moment to thank 3 key participants in this tale of one young co-ed's epic transformation. Individuals whose great influence on my journey, my Accounting 101 professor from fall 1992, whose name actually escapes me, Dr. Mark J. Tierno, who led the Elmira College Education Department, until his untimely departure in late 1994, and my former classmate Magnus for his heroic efforts to tutor me in accounting, living proof that real heroes actually don't wear capes, they carry calculators. Now, you might be surprised to learn that Bette A. Mammone and I shared a similar history early on. As a public relations journalism major at Utica College, I was doing very well academically, even winning the acclaimed Ray Simon Institute for Public Relations Award as a first-year PR major. Bette, too, began her academic journey in Utica, and even Bette's father, Frank, had a deep affiliation with Utica College that spanned more than 6 decades. While she went on to pursue a successful career in journalism and philanthropy, Elmira College did not have a public relations major for me at the time, so business management seemed a likely substitute. Fall semester arrived and I was ready to climb the corporate ladder. However, no sooner had my junior year begun when the empirical evidence would suggest that falling off the corporate ladder was going to be much easier than climbing up it. Magnus had been sitting next to me for the first 3 weeks of the semester. We quickly discovered we were living parallel lives 1 classroom apart, but with different nemesis. His was economics, which to him read like some sort of foreign language, while mine was an endless, merciless barrage of mind-boggling spreadsheets. Since I was the resident econ whiz in the class, Magnus asked me to tutor him in exchange for helping me crack the Accounting 101 code. We had had an accord. After just 1 test, Magnus's apparent success spread like wildfire. Before I knew it, I had econ groupies every Wednesday night at the library, right upstairs here. Students who all seemed to share the same sentiment. We sit with this guy for 3 hours a week and still don't understand a thing. We spend 20 minutes with you and we get it. You should be a teacher. Flattering? Yeah, sure, but Corning Incorporated was waiting for me, right? By semester's end, Magnus and everyone I tutored had passed econ with flying colors. Meanwhile, I failed accounting. Yes, I had been outmatched, outplayed, the jig was up, and I had lost. But little did I know the game wasn't over, it had really just begun. How could this happen? It's the kind of ceremonial question we all ask ourselves in life's biggest moments. Either we are triumphantly accepting an award, or we realize mid-semester that we're absolutely terrible at accounting. I couldn't be a business major without accounting, and honestly, I had zero interest in endless number crunching in neat little rows on a balance sheet. I kept hearing my grandmother's wisdom echoing in my head. Jenny, everything happens for a reason. But in the moment, it made little sense. Then there was this teaching thing. Maybe there was something there after all. The desire to help others was something else that Bette and I shared. Blame it on good intentions or the finger of God tapping us both on the shoulder. Regardless, higher education landed on our doorsteps, almost like an uninvited guest. Ready or not, here I am. But its presence became life-changing for both Bette and I. Speaking of doorsteps, I made an appointment at the Education House during mid-semester break. Dr. Mark J. Tierno was Elmira College's Director of Education at the time. And let's just say my request to change majors in the middle of my junior year was not exactly met with enthusiasm. In fact, Dr. Tierno's unencouraging, "You don't want to do this, you'll be here forever," to his frigid, "Go back to the business department, you'll be fine," the frosty reception left me questioning every, quote, major decision, no pun intended, I had ever made up to this point. Even my hopes of being coddled or consoled by my doting parents were short-lived, as my mother's now legendary words put Dr. Tierno's on instant replay. "Well, maybe you should think about what he said. He's right, you know. You will be there for a while." However, the next morning brought with it a revelation. An elementary, my dear Watson moment so profound that even Sherlock Holmes himself surely would have raised a brow. I realized for the first time that teaching wasn't a fallback. It was a calling. It was my calling. And finally, I understood the true passion behind the pursuit. I returned to campus with new conviction and sat on the steps of the Education House, impatiently awaiting his arrival. At 7:30 a.m. sharp, Dr. Tierno arrived, strolling up the walkway in his usual Inspector Gadget garb, hot cup of coffee in hand. He looked up and upon recognizing me, gave a familiar sigh. "Oh, it's you." Before he could say another word, I interjected with every ounce of determination I had left. "I want to be a teacher." He paused, smiled, and calmly replied, "Welcome to the education department." Astonished, I had been outplayed once again. Except this time, the message was apparent and the meaning was clear. I was exactly where I was meant to be. Are we ever truly prepared for failure to catastrophically wreak havoc on our best laid plans? From private disappointments to public humiliation, failure's wrath can tear through our lives like a wrecking ball, reducing even the most confident of individuals to tears. We've all been there, and you have. But behind each experience is a moment of transformative reflection, the kind that made your 3,000 followers on either Twitter or Instagram sit up, take notice, and hit share again and again. These moments are life's lessons, tailor-made just for you. Their sole purpose being you to have the experience. The knowledge gained didn't just mold and shape us in the moment, it became the momentum behind some of the greatest stories we've ever told. And many of the prudent strategies we've shared with spouses, our children, in classrooms, with friends and neighbors, and even that nice lady at the grocery store that we met for the very first time. Life is a game of ever-changing circumstances. Its players must be willing to embrace every trial while celebrating every success. Celebrate the journey and not just the destination. Be sure to create a culture for yourself that cultivates teamwork, cherishing the vital connections that you make along the way. And take time to listen, really listen. When you help others, everyone around you feels heard, valued, understood, and ready to get in the game. Approach each day with an open mind, a blank slate, and an even bigger heart. Be purposeful with your plans, practical with your actions, passionate with your words, and feel privileged by every defeat. Yes, failure is inevitable, but it's also necessary, essential for growth and to success. It's the catharsis behind every epic success story ever told. Our flexibility and resilience have the power to move mountains, set precedents, and shine a light on meaningful examples for everyone that we encounter. Plan to be of service. Share the wealth of your experiences with others, colleagues, friends and neighbors, and those in your greater community. It's true, leaders are made and not born. The number one leadership quality is emotional intelligence, and in many ways, the highest form of human interaction is selflessness. So always do unto others, as did Bette, so that the rest of the 8.2 billion people on the planet can benefit from what you have to offer. Bette's biggest blessing was her kind soul. But it was her life devoted to service and her efforts to uplift the lives of those less fortunate that should serve as further inspiration to us all. As even Dorothy herself learned along the way, you've always had the power, but you never would have believed it if you didn't learn it for yourself. Bette's legacy reminds us the power to serve and lead is within us all, yet many of life's greatest challenges are designed to test our endurance and determine a single decisive winner. Bear in mind, the greatest winners are often determined by skill rather than by score. You might not have been prepared, but you are exactly where you are meant to be. That's how you got here. That's how I got here. So what's the moral of this long-winded tale of corporate dreams, failed spreadsheets, middle school love letters, and Inspector Gadget professors? It's simple. The path you planned for is rarely the one you walk, but that doesn't make it any less extraordinary. Even Robert Frost, who probably wasn't thinking about student loans or awkward prom invitations, reminded us back in 10th grade English class that someday we'd be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Life has a way of humbling you, shrouding you in doubt, and then spontaneously rerouting you. And if you're lucky, placing you in exactly the right classroom at exactly the right time. I didn't become Corning's youngest junior executive. I became something better. I became a teacher. I became a mentor, a proud card-carrying member of the Middle School Survivors Club. And now standing here, decades later, probably still older than you think I am, I realize every misstep, every failed test, every awkward prom invitation was just life's way of redirecting me towards something greater. Sure, we might not have been prepared. Not really. Not for the hard days. Not for the heartbreak. Not for how difficult it might be just to show up. And certainly not for the unexpected joys that come from just showing up. So you see, not being prepared is exactly what made us ready. And now, here we are. Elmira College did not hand us an instruction manual. It gave us something far better. A place to be unprepared and still begin anyway. A foundation on which to build our dreams. And a supportive community to call our own. So plan to live your best life because you only live once. Do what you love and love what you do. And to anyone still figuring it all out, live boldly, laugh loudly, fail spectacularly and without regret, and celebrate all of life's detours. You may not have followed the plan, but you wrote a better story. Now go write life's next chapters and make them unforgettable. For yourself and for our future. And remember, sometimes not in the plan ends up being the best part of the journey. Thank you.